Welcome to Twisted Love Tales. This is a space for the stories you don't hear about. True crimes of passion from around the world. They're raw, unexpected, and honestly hard to forget. Today, we're diving into the shocking and heartbreaking story of Nibaldo Villegas, a beloved teacher from Chile whose life took a devastating turn. What seemed like an ordinary story of love and trust unraveled into a case that shook the nation. Nibaldo Villegas was a beloved schoolteacher in Villa Alemana, Chile. Known for his warmth, dedication, and kindness, he was a pillar of his community and a cherished educator. He had a passion for teaching and was deeply committed to his students and family. However, his personal life faced significant challenges in the years leading up to his untimely death. Nibaldo was married to Johanna Hernandez, a relationship that began positively, but later encountered difficulties due to financial and personal conflicts. They eventually separated, but remained in contact for the sake of their children. The tragedy began on August 10, 2018. On that day, Nibaldo told his family he was meeting Johanna at his home to discuss family matters. When he didn't return or respond to calls, his loved ones grew concerned. Days later, they filed a missing persons report, initiating a search for answers. Unbeknownst to his family, Nibaldo had fallen victim to a tragic act of betrayal by those he once trusted. The subsequent investigation would reveal shocking details. Johanna Hernandez and her then-boyfriend, Francisco Silva, planned to end Nibaldo Villegas' life for selfish reasons. Their motives centered on financial gain and resolving ongoing custody disputes in their favor. That night, they drugged Nibaldo, rendering him unconscious. As he lay defenseless, they carried out their gruesome plan. The details of what followed shocked Chile. Nibaldo's life was taken in the very home where he had built his family and shared moments of joy. The couple's brutality didn't stop there. In an effort to cover up their crime, they took steps to conceal what had happened, including separating and discarding parts of his remains in different locations. They also lit a fire at the beach and stayed there for hours, likely hoping to destroy evidence. They believed their efforts would protect them from being caught. However, their actions would soon unravel under the weight of evidence and public scrutiny. A few days after Nibaldo Villegas was reported missing, a fisherman near the coast of Valparaiso made a shocking discovery: a human torso floating in the water. Unsure of what he had found, the fisherman quickly contacted the police. Authorities arrived at the scene, and forensic teams carefully removed the remains, starting an intense investigation to find out who the victim was. Using DNA testing, experts confirmed the remains belonged to Nibaldo Villegas. This heartbreaking news turned the case from a missing persons investigation into a murder case. For his family, who had been holding on to hope that he might still be alive, the discovery was devastating. The news of Nibaldo's death shook everyone. He wasn't just a teacher. He was a kind, respected man who had made a positive impact on many lives. His students, friends, and neighbors couldn't believe what had happened to someone so loved. Tributes poured in from all over. Former students shared how Nibaldo had inspired them, and the community came together to honor his memory with vigils and moments of silence. People lit candles and prayed, trying to make sense of such a terrible loss. With the case now confirmed as a homicide, investigators focused on the people closest to Nibaldo. Suspicion quickly turned to his ex-wife, Johanna Hernandez, and her boyfriend, Francisco Silva. They were among the last people to have contact with Nibaldo before he disappeared. Police questioned Johanna and Francisco, and their stories didn't add up. Both denied knowing anything about what had happened to Nibaldo, but their statements were inconsistent, and their behavior raised questions. The fisherman's discovery was a turning point in the case. Without it, police might not have been able to confirm what had happened to Nibaldo or gather the evidence they needed. The remains provided vital clues, helping investigators piece together the timeline and uncover more information about the crime. This discovery also pushed the investigation into high gear. It became clear that this wasn't a simple disappearance. It was a planned and terrible act. The pressure was now on the authorities to find out the full story and bring those responsible to justice. Detectives examined the movements of Johanna Hernandez and Francisco Silva, uncovering the CCTV footage that proved against their alibis. Forensic evidence from Nibaldo's home, including bloodstains and signs of an attempted cleanup, further implicated them. The investigation revealed that the crime was meticulously planned for weeks, driven by pure greed. Their objective was to eliminate Nibaldo, seize control of his finances, and gain custody of Johanna and Nibaldo's daughter. Those who knew Nibaldo struggled to comprehend how such a compassionate man could fall victim to such a brutal act, especially at the hands of his ex-wife. Despite the mounting evidence, Johanna and Francisco initially denied involvement. However, under the weight of irrefutable proof, their alibis collapsed, leading to their confessions and subsequent arrest. During the trial, Johanna attempted to deflect blame onto Francisco, claiming he had coerced her into participating in the crime. She stated, "Francisco started with the idea that Nibaldo shouldn't exist, that he had to disappear. I didn't take it seriously." This attempt to shift responsibility was unconvincing, given the evidence of her active involvement in the crime. Furthermore, Johanna's behavior during the search for Nibaldo was deceptive. She feigned concern and even produced a video where she appeared to be distressed over his disappearance. In a later interview, she admitted, "I had to start acting," acknowledging her deceitful behavior intended to mislead Nibaldo's family and authorities. These actions highlighted the calculated and manipulative nature of Johanna and Francisco's plan. The trial of Johanna Hernandez and Francisco Silva captured national attention, becoming one of the most closely followed cases in Chilean history. Courtrooms were packed with reporters, community members, and grieving family members as the chilling details of the crime were laid bare. Prosecutors presented a compelling case, backed by forensic findings, witness testimonies, and the couple's own admissions. The evidence highlighted the premeditated nature of the crime, revealing a callous disregard for human life. During the trial, Johanna's cold demeanor and lack of remorse shocked the public. Francisco's attempts to shift blame only further cemented their shared culpability. The prosecution painted a picture of a toxic relationship between the two. In the end, both were found guilty of the horrendous crime. The court sentenced them to lengthy prison terms. Johanna received life imprisonment, and Francisco was sentenced to a similarly severe term. For many, the verdict brought a sense of justice, though it could never undo the pain and loss experienced by Nibaldo's family and community. The tragic story of Nibaldo Villegas left a lasting impact. His family and community continued to feel the pain of his loss long after the crime. Sadly, this heartbreak grew even deeper when Nibaldo's father, overcome with grief, passed away just a few months after the trial ended. His death was a powerful reminder of the lasting wounds left by such a terrible tragedy. Despite the darkness that persisted, there was a glimmer of hope in how the family came together. Nibaldo's son fought for custody of his younger sister, ensuring she could be raised in a loving and stable environment. His commitment to keeping the family together in the wake of such heartbreak is a testament to the resilience and strength they continue to show. The murder of Nibaldo Villegas sparked widespread discussions about the warning signs of toxic relationships, the importance of safeguarding vulnerable individuals, and the need for community support in addressing domestic violence. Nibaldo's legacy lives on, not only in the memories of those he touched, but also in the enduring love of his family, who have found ways to honor his life and protect the ones he cared about most. It also highlights the need for accessible resources for those in potentially harmful situations. In the U.S., the National Domestic Violence Hotline is available at 1-800-799-7233 or by texting START to 88788 for confidential support. In Chile, you can call the National Hotline for Domestic Violence at 1455, a free and confidential service available 24/7. Similar resources worldwide are vital to preventing tragedies and protecting lives. Thank you for watching this episode of Twisted Love Tales. We've shared this story with the utmost respect for Nibaldo Villegas, his family, students, and everyone affected by this tragedy. I was deeply impacted by his son's actions, His strength is beyond admirable. May he continue being as resilient and brave. Please remember to ask and support one another. If you found this story meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to help us continue sharing stories that inform, educate, and remind us of the strength of the human spirit.